Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that. So I'm excited to be here today. I know you guys are tired, I'm sure. It's the third day, right? And everyone's like, why am I here? So I'm going to try and keep this moving at a pace that's not just mundaning, but maybe even get some interaction from some of you. That would be really great. So she said, my name's Jeff Sesol. I have a company called Pull the Chute. And the tagline is grow your people, grow your company, because I'm a big believer that if you invest in your people will invest in you as a company. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about leadership in a post-pandemic world. And I wanted to kind of spend a little bit of time, first of all, telling you why I named my company Pull the Chute. So I have 30 plus years of consulting experience. I've been in the industry, been in the telecom industry for quite a long time as well. But finally, a couple things happened. So I always like to tell people there's a couple important birthdays in your life. When you're 16, because you can drive. When you're 21, because you're legal. When you're 40, you have a tendency to look in the mirror and realize that statistically your life is half over. That's a bad thing to think about. And you say, what's on my bucket list that I want to do while I still can? And so for me, it was to go skydiving. So you go 14,000 feet up in the air. I don't know if anybody's ever gone skydiving before, but you go 14,000 feet up. You tumble out of the plane, and you're falling at 120 miles an hour. The first thing that you notice is it's really hard to breathe. The next thing is one little movement of your hand, and you start to spin out of control. Everything's happening so fast you can't see where you're at, and you can't see where you're going. But at 5,500 feet, you pull the chute. And suddenly you can breathe again, you're in control, you can see where you're at, and you can see where you want to go. And as I've always told people, isn't that a lot like business? And isn't that a lot like life? We have a tendency to be moving too fast. Sometimes we need to pull the chute and just take a breath, feel in control, see where we're at, and see where we want to go. You know, we heard challenges, right? As you're going through those challenges, try and remember, or if you haven't, figure out your why, because that's your passion. So it's going to drive you to continue to do better. We were at a meeting with Tracy's NIA group, which is, by the way, more than a networking group, if you're interested. But one of the things we were talking about was when people are in business, and Tracy gave this great demonstration, which stuck in my head, which is a clock. Think of a clock, right? And you start at 12, and that's when you started your business. And you get all the way around to 9, and you're looking in the mirror, and you're going, I can't do this anymore. I'm tired. There's too much going on. If you had just pushed through to 10, everything else would have worked out, and everything would be working smoothly. But people quit at 9. And they just need to, when you feel that burden and that frustration, find a way to push through, whether it's finding someone to talk to, whether it's working with a group like this, whatever it is, find that group and push through, because usually when you push through, that's what's going to make the biggest difference. We're in the midst of an unbelievable explosion of entrepreneurs and new businesses. In 2022, 5,044,078 businesses, new businesses were created in the US. The year before, 5.4 million. The year before that was only 4.3. So look what the pandemic did to us, right? Between the pandemic and the Great Resignation, people are like, you know what? I'm going to work for myself. I'm going to give it a shot. So here's the concern then. If people are doing that, all of a sudden our numbers went up, and how do we stand out from everybody else? What makes us different, right? If you're going to have competition, I got 2 real estate people here, right? How do you make yourself a little bit different? What are you doing that's a little bit slightly different? From an insurance kind of standpoint, you're doing great. Whatever you're doing, Jonathan, it's working, right? You're getting up there. But those are the things that you have to look at. What's going to make you different, right? And so we're going to look at some of that stuff. And my big thing we're going to talk about a little bit is brand. I really want to spend some time. We're going to talk about brand and things. But one of the struggles I heard here too was I don't have enough hours in the day, time management. And I'm going to correct you when you say time management. Really, you can't manage time. Time is time. You can manage yourself in time, which is an important difference that you got to make. Because if you're looking at the clock and you're like, oh my gosh, it's just starting to focus and figuring out where you can start clumping things together that allow you to get more done in less time. But that's an important aspect. But systematizing, we heard Tracy say, she's got to create systems and processes, right? Another important thing is that's going to give you time. If you can use the systems that are out there, we're going to learn about that a little bit today. And then we're going to, Jana's going to talk to us a little bit about sales, because let's face it, pandemic taught us that, video is the way to sell. And we found out that actually it can be faster, more efficient, things of that nature, but we're losing what we're doing here today. And that's why I really wanted to do this workshop in person, because it's that human interaction where we get to see each other in person and just enjoy their company as well. Video helps us not to have that. And then, we're going to kind of look at one of the troubling aspects of most startups. 42% of startups after year one go out of business because they run out of money, because of cash flow, right? And so that's an interesting thing that we need to kind of discuss. And then, the biggest thing that we do, my tagline is grow your people, grow your company, right? That is my passion. My passion is people. I struggle when I hear, and trust me, I've had people take me out to coffee and just vent because their boss and the culture is terrible and they hate it. But they don't know where else to go. I'm like, go find another job. And they're like, I've been trying, I can't find it. But yet they're still in this debilitating environment that brings them down, knocks them down, makes them feel tired. Life is too short, we can't do that. We got to find ways to fix that. Hopefully my goal is to reach out to these business owners and say, look, your culture has to be one of positivity. It has to be one where you appreciate your people. And we'll get into more of that with some of the stuff. Let's talk to you a little bit about what I consider keys to business success today. And we're going to start with a story. And so there was a boy who woke up one morning and he realized something that at that particular moment in time, no one else, he was confident, knew. And he got himself dressed and he rushed out of the house and he went to the fairgrounds because the circus was coming into town. And he always loved the circus. And this was going to be the year. And so as he watched, they set up the tents and the elephants pulled around all the heavy stuff and the workmen got everything all set up. And once it was all finished up, he saw the blue trailer with the sign that said owner. And he bravely walked up to the door and he knocked on the door and the owner opened the door and said, "What can I do for you, son?" He said, I just, he goes, "Don't tell me you want to join the circus." He goes, yeah, I want to join the circus. He goes, I was about your age when I joined the circus. He goes, let me think, what do I have available? He goes, maybe the clowns, no, I don't need any more clowns, plus they're a weird bunch anyway, we're just going to leave them alone. He said, maybe the trapeze, no, I think they're good. Oh, you know what? I have an opening in the band. The band, I love the band. He says, I need a trombone player. I play the trombone. He goes, incredible. He goes, all right, do me a favor, go see Joe, get your outfit, we're going to do a parade in a little bit, and you can join the band. He goes, great, so he runs off. So that afternoon, the owner is standing next to the mayor proudly as his circus parade comes through town, and he sees the elephants all stacked one behind the other, and they're holding each other's tail, and he sees the clowns come in, and the car stops, and it looks like 20 clowns get out of the car and all get back in, and it goes again, and people are wondering if there's a hole in the street, because where'd all those clowns come from? It was just so incredible. And so finally the band starts coming down, and the owner is standing there, and he hears this god-awful screech coming out of the middle of the band. And he looks at the mayor, and the mayor looks at the owner, and the owner jumps off the platform, and he rifles his way through the band, and he catches the kid, and he says, I thought you told me you could play. And the kid says, I thought I could. No one told me I couldn't. Give a child an instrument, and when they make a noise, they think they're playing it. Give an adult that same instrument, and they'll be like, no, I can't do that. So that's a true story of Walt Disney, by the way. And we all know what Walt built because no one ever told him he couldn't or he shouldn't. And so one of the keys to business success that I want to share with you guys today is don't let people tell you you can't. Because leadership is all about identifying your people and letting them know that you care about them, letting them know that you're paying attention. We live in this crazy world where 4 million people a month are resigning and looking for other jobs. The Great Resignation is still going on. It moves from like 3.9 to 4.2, all that stuff. But it's just a crazy, crazy time where there's so many things happening that the society is changing. Why? Because we have all these people that feel unappreciated. Real interesting stat. 79% of the people that change their job do it because they feel unappreciated. 49% of those, only 49% of those people actually liked their job. And only 12% are moving because they want more money. So it tells you a lot. It's not about the money, right? It's about the leadership. It's about what you're willing to offer them and what you're willing to do to help them succeed.